And when you do that, corporations ain't on your stuff to be advertisers. They're on there to own you.
Yeah,
and that's what they're doing. Corporations dictate NASCAR right now because they have no fans that want to see their product, and that's the last thing that we need. Maybe corporational media needs to get involved, but corporational entities and businesses that have certain agendas like TMC and stuff like that, and pilot travel centers and all this stuff, we don't need those people dictating who's on the track and who ain't, and who wants to be up front and who wants to be at the back. So, in my opinion, we need to get the relevance and the
Wait a minute, Chaz Thompson. You're telling me that if Pilot Truck Center or Loves, whoever these entities you just mentioned, jumped on board and wanted to sponsor a dirt track racing team or wanted to sponsor a racing series on dirt, you're telling me don't do it because then that commercially publicizes them and they have to kind of play into that NASCAR filter. And you're telling me that they're not going to go for that.
I'm not saying don't do it, but just understand what it is. That's not the solution to the sport. The solution to the sport ain't going to be corporations funding your teams. The solution to the sport is when these payouts can get to a point where winning actually matters. That's why we have rent-a-rides and all these things, because winning races doesn't make money anymore.
Gotcha.
Teams have to depend on signing up to contracts with series, so they shut their mouth, so they get a little $500 bonus every time they come to the track, so that the series can help them stay on tour instead of the winnings making enough money to be able to stay on tour and operate a sprint car team operation. It's about control, power. One thing that matters a little bit more than money in this history of the world is power. Money's just the tool to control people
everything with. I just asked, you just totally looped and blew it over your head. The question I
said that is fine. Do what you want to do. You want to be sponsored. That's the best short-term solution you can do right now. Yes, is to have a corporation sign up for them. Yes, that's the short-term operation.
Okay, but let me
ask you a question. What I'm saying to the entire motorsports world is that's not going to help you long-term.
Okay, but don't you believe that these big sponsors is what brings the fans into the tracks because you do advertising with them? Don't you believe that if you have...
Sometimes big sponsors just want to shut you up. Like 5 Hour Energy doesn't promote the Knoxville Nationals that much. They just send a few girls in there to hand out some drinks. Previously, I don't know who's sponsoring it this year, but when 5 Hour Energy did the Knoxville Nationals, it ain't like some of these other sponsors in the past that used to promote the race and show it off. 5 Hour Energy locked onto that and didn't do no promotion for the event and just sent out some girls to hand out some free bottles. So some people are trying to buy snubs, like snub contracts. They're trying to take over that national attention. Like I made a point with Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil is the one man who could have bought his one of these dirt series that he has onto a mainstream media television outlet. He had to go buy his own damn station. So there's more than probably that we know that is in there that don't want sprint car dirt track racing to be on a national stage because it is a big threat to NASCAR. If Burger King moves in on the street, McDonald's may not sell as many burgers. It's a competitive aspect. Competition is not just on the track. Competition is between series and divisions, like you said, two different things.
Right, absolutely.
It's two different things. It's a competition. Promotion is competition as well. These are different entities. These are different businesses. That's why I don't like the whole working with the stock car racing deal, because you aren't going to be anything but an associate. And they want dirt track racing to be an associate instead of a challenger. I guarantee you that.
I got you. Well, there are some things that me and you can agree on and some things that we disagree on. That's what makes the world go around. But with that said, as far as the aspect of what you just talked about, if you have a sponsor, if you have big national sponsors, and I want to see that happen. You just mentioned Forrest Lucas, and you just mentioned Lucas Oil, okay, and Mav TV. I work with Mav TV, but this is neither here nor there. This is neither here nor there. What is wrong in what they're doing? What is wrong with what Forrest did, taking his business, taking his production, creating his own series? And again, he's got a series for late models. He's got a series for modifieds. He's got one for boats. He's got one for midgets, sprint cars.
JSCS National Tour.
Yeah, sure. Brian Holbert, Emmett Hahn, all those guys. So what's the problem in that?
There's no problem with it. I'm just pointing it out as an example as to how things may work. That's all. I guarantee it's a lot cheaper to have a little sign up a 12-night broadcast on ESPN than it is to start your own station up. So I'm just saying, Lucas Oil's doing everything that he can or could do. Lucas Oil is a great example as to somebody who loves this sport more, loves it a lot, and what money can do for you with a lot of money and a lot of love.
Definitely. Okay. So let's try to
talk all that he can.
Let's try to change things up here a little bit, because I think this subject is beating a dead horse, because we've been talking about it for the last hour. All right, comments are coming in. Christina Stockholm up in Washington State says, what is he actually doing? Just causing hate and discontent. Promote a race that has the notoriety he begs for. Matt and Ash, right? What have you done for dirt? Not your pocket. Matt. Obviously, you don't know me. I don't know you. But I have a 20-plus year respected career in this industry. I grew up around racing all my life since I was a kid, and I have done several things for racing. A matter of fact, when I first met Chaz Thompson, it wasn't at a NASCAR track. It was at a dirt track when I was announcing for USAC at the Bubba Army Winter Nationals. Dennis Bold then earned the fans. Or them earn the fans with the sponsors is what we were talking about. Chaz, again, like I said, I like you, brother. Okay, I don't want you to think that I hate you or I despise you or I'm not your friend. My question to you is this, and I appreciate you doing the podcast. And again, the fans' vote is what led us to doing this today. We're having a heated debate. You're speaking your mind. I'm speaking my mind. People can say it's about NASCAR. I'm not trying to make it about NASCAR, but you keep bringing up the thing about NASCAR because you think that's the top entity. I would love, this is the God's honest truth.
You asked me that question. You asked me, why do I hate on NASCAR? And we got into a discussion about it.
Absolutely. And I know I brought that down that road. But I will say this to end this subject. I love dirt track racing. I love everything about it. As a matter of fact, this weekend, in addition to doing a MAV TV Super Late Model race at Pensacola for Short Track America possibly, I'm also going to be at Southern Raceway announcing the non-wing sprint cars. They're awesome. You've seen them before at Hendry County. You've seen them at Bubba Raceway. They put on a phenomenal show. I love dirt track racing. I love the sprints. I love the midgets. I would love to see, and this is going to shut up guys like Matt and Ash Wright or all these other people that act like they know it all or want to contradict what I'm saying. I would love to see Chaz Thompson, World of Outlaws, Lucas Oil, all of these guys make it to a national level. I would love to see the World of Outlaws, late models, modifieds, sprint cars get national exposure besides CBS Sports Network or Speed Channel or MAV TV or whatever they're getting, because I believe that if we put it out there on a more national base, more people are going to know about it, Chaz. So if the opportunity came for sprint cars to be on CBS Network TV, for the late models to be on CBS or NBC Network Television, you're saying, no, don't do it because of the corporate money.
I said to get corporate media involved. I said corporate media getting involved is not a problem, but corporations
All right.
is completely different. Corporate media needs to get involved, and it shouldn't be much of a big, giant hurdle to leap to get highlights of a Knoxville Nationals or a World 100 onto an ESPN Sports Center. I don't understand how that's not only hard to do, but why that's not one of our goals or demands, like the Litz Kyle race situation of the dirt track racing community. Why are we not demanding that happens? Why are we waiting for somebody to choose us instead of us telling them what should be going on? Any change that's ever happened in human history has started with people talking about it or demanding change. So if we just sit back and let things happen and keep going down the road that they're going, then they'll just go wherever the corporate world wants it to go. So that's all I'm trying to say there. Yes, the corporate media definitely needs to get involved, but the dirt track fan base can help that happen by making some noise and saying that it should happen as well.
Absolutely.
Demand is more important than supply. It always is. It's always. The demand is what's going to move the supply. So we have to get together as a dirt track community, recognize that it is a separate entity, get off this level system that I've heard you say too many times already, in my opinion, these levels. But
wait a second. Wait a minute.
Right.
But is that not the truth, though, Chaz? I'm not saying that you have to agree with me. That's the truth. That is where we're at today. Not saying that I started it, not saying that you started it, but we are in a motorsports era. Let me tell you something. The motorsports industry,
era. Yes,
10 years ago, 10 years ago, the motorsports era 10 years ago is different today than when I was doing it back in 2009. Okay? The motorsports industry has changed in those 10 years. I've been around racing since I was a kid, since I was 3 years old, when my dad took me to Wake County Speedway in Raleigh, Southern National in Kenley when I was little. I started announcing when I was 13 years old at a local track, and I worked my way up to where I get to do things today. Chaz, I'm not arguing with you here. The racing industry has changed. For the good, for the bad. That's how I feel about it.
Right. And eras are very important. I think the current era we're in, there's certain things that you have to do to fund your short-term needs. Like if Loves wants to get on board, yeah, you have to do it because of the era of motorsports we're in. What I'm trying to tell a lot of people is there was this era that happened that most people don't remember because of the media mainstream taking over domination of NASCAR. They got drunk on their power and money and destroyed themselves in a way. But anyway, there's an era where, sprint car guys were racing for more money than NASCAR racers. And guys like Kenzer Swindell and Wolfgang were relevant in the world we live in, and they were given attention. And you saw sprint cars on ABC and big block modifieds on ESPN. There's this era when we had zero NASCAR affiliation, pretty much. We didn't care about a dirt track racer and a cup car at all. That wasn't some big, huge deal. Like I said, the Ken Schrader era was going on the same time this Kenzer Swindell Wolfgang was getting all this attention. My thing is we need to see what games get played marketing-wise, which a lot of people don't look at, which is some people get mad at it when I point out the subject of worshiping a Kyle Larson more than a Donnie Schatz. So that's what I'm saying. We need this trend of going to NASCAR shouldn't be as important as our own stars in our cars. We're treating it as a lower level, and as long back again to the supply and the demand, as long as we're treating it as a lower level and we're waiting for the next Larson or something like that, then that's how it's always going to be. The dirt late model world is a great example of how it hasn't affected them as much. They have full fields, 2 national series, fans showing up, and there ain't one bigger name in late model racing than late model racers, buddy. Scott Bloomquist, there ain't no bigger dirt late model name than Scott Bloomquist. There ain't some Kyle Larson out there for the late model community. That's why you have young Bobby Pierces and Tanner Englishes able to be superstars of the sport at 25 years old running a dirt late model. Unlike if you're a 25-year-old running a sprint car, you just weren't good enough to be a Larson and Bell. So, I mean, that's the perspective of the two fan bases. Now, they're very different, but that shows the difference. And wing sprint car racing does dictate a lot, because wing sprint car racing came along in 1978 and established itself as a top-tier level of motorsports.
Absolutely.
That's why the drivers were invited to IROC, because it was a respected champion. We don't have any more well-known, respected champions than NASCAR racers. That's the problem. The world needs more options of what racing is. And that's only going to happen when we stop treating those drivers like that. When we start demanding these other forms, not only just dirt, but the Trans Am, not transit, road racers, off-road truck racers, all these other champions out here that matter too, the world needs to know about them. And they're not going to come out and watch them unless they respect them.
Again, the question's coming in the comments as well. Dennis Bold says, and I quote, "Okay, now I get it, Chaz. You're mad because NASCAR got it right and dirt has missed the boat." Is that basically what you're saying? And wait a minute, they're struggling too. NASCAR's struggling. What do you think of, and I'm not trying to get back on this soapbox again, but yesterday, NASCAR threw us for a loop with this new schedule, this schedule shuffle for 2020 next year. Obviously, I know you're more in the dirt track industry, but I know you watch NASCAR, you follow NASCAR, you bash NASCAR. What is your thoughts of the new schedule that they came out with yesterday?